The Catalan independence movement of the Catalan separatist movement is a political movement derived from Catalan nationalism, which supports the independence of Catalonia and the Catalan countries from Andorra, Spain, France, and Italy. The Estelada flag, in its blue and red versions, has become its main symbol. Recently, there has been a substantial increase in the number of people who openly consider themselves independentists, and on September 11, 2012 and September 11, 2013 there were massive demonstrations with more than 1 million participants calling for independence for Catalonia through peaceful, democratic process and non-binding and unofficial referendums in municipalities. The ruling coalition, Convergència Unió, and giving up its long-standing strategy for more autonomy shortly after the 2012 demonstration, openly came out in favour of independence, lost some MPs in the Parliament of Catalonia to the left-wing traditionally pro-independence party, Esquerra Republicana de Catalunya. With this shift in stance by Catalonia's ruling party, the 2012 election were the first in history resulting in a clear majority of the parliament in Catalonia with a pro-independence stance. The campaign for the 2015 Catalan election was carried out as a plebiscite on independence, where the Catalan government hoped to gain the democratic authority to begin the independence process. Convergència Unió split due to Unió's disagreement with the independence drive, and Convergència and ERC ran together as a unitary list named Junts.Pelsi. Junts.Pelsi did not get a majority of parliament, yet a slightly lower majority of seats were held by the two pro-independence parties. Pro-independence parties gained 47.8% of the popular vote, whereas openly anti-independence parties gained 41.62%, and the left-wing platform Catalonia Yes We Can, which was ambiguous in its position favouring a political solution, gained 8.94% of the votes. History. Beginnings as a coastal territory of the Crown of Aragon, Catalonia has been part of Spain since the country was born from the Union of Aragon and the Kingdom of Castile in the late 15th century. Some Catalan authors, such as Xavier Bru de Sala, Canvia España, argue that the first serious struggle for Catalan independence may date back as far as 1640, with the unsuccessful First Catalan Republic after the Reapers' War. In the subsequent War of the Spanish Succession, Catalans hoped to salvage their institutions of home rule, in the face of a centralizing Bourbon pretender, rather than outright independence. The Crown of Aragon lost distinctive rules, institutions and laws at the end of the War of Spanish Succession in 1714, when Philip V of Spain issued the Nueva Plan to decrease a centralized Spanish rule. Support for Catalan independence is based on the thesis from the 19th century that Catalonia is a nation, derived from contemporary political and cultural ideology based on the history of Catalonia, the Catalan language and Catalan traditions. The beginnings of separatism can certainly be traced back to mid-19th to early 20th centuries, when some individuals, organizations and political parties started demanding full independence of Catalonia from Spain. Early 20th century. In the early 20th century, Enric Prat de la Riba forged an alliance of county councils, the Mancomunitat de Catalunya, to modernize Catalonia by building state structures. In the modern sense, the first political parties to define themselves as pro-independence were created between the 1920s and the 1930s in Catalonia. The main separatist party created at this time was Esquerra Estate Català and its branch called Bandera Negra. Estate Català evolved into the new party Esquerra Republicana de Catalunya, although some of its members refused it and remained faithful to the original Estate Català, now a minor party. In the First World War, Catalan volunteers bore the pro-independence flag when they fought on the Allies' side. The same ensign headed a text addressed to President Wilson late in 1918, calling on him to review the Treaty of Utrecht, which had allowed Spain to abolish Catalonia's home rule inside a centralized unitary state. In 1928, exiled Catalans in Cuba drafted a provisional constitution of the Catalan Republic. In 1931, a coalition of Catalan nationalist parties was the most voted force in Catalonia in the Spanish municipal elections that triggered the proclamation of the Second Spanish Republic. In 1932, Catalonia was granted a statute of autonomy and home rule institutions, which lasted until the Spanish Civil War and the subsequent Franco dictatorship, which based its public ideology on Spanish nationalism and Catholicism, abolished home rule and discouraged regional cultures. After the Spanish Civil War, members of Estate Català and Nosaltres Sols founded the Front National de Catalunya, which became the main pro-independence party. However, one might argue that the modern Catalan pro-independence movement was actually born in the 1960s with the Partit Socialista Lliberament Nacional. This caused the pro-independence movement to assume a mostly left-wing political trend and a shift in focus from independence for Catalonia to independence for the Catalan countries. By the 1970s, the PSAN split into several factions, and many other groups appeared, including the armed organization Terra. Following Franco's death in 1975 and the Spanish transition to democracy, Catalan autonomy was restored in 1977. Catalan nationalists have governed the region most of the time since then, and those calling for full independence have had the parliamentary group since 1980. In the 1980s, the Movement de Defensa de la Terra became the major pro-independence political group, but this too became divided by the end of the decade. During the 1990s, existing political parties such as Esquerra Republicana de Catalunya and the Linguistic National Initiative Crida la Solidaritat progressively evolved towards a more pro-independence stance. 2010 Catalan autonomy protest. The 2010 Catalan autonomy protest was a demonstration held in central Barcelona on the 10th of July 2010 against the limits set to the autonomy of Catalonia within Spain, and particularly against a then-recent decision of the Spanish Constitutional Court to annul or reinterpret several articles of the 2006 Statute of Autonomy of Catalonia, approved in referendum by 73.9% of the voters. The judgment of the 28th of June 2010 declared as without interpretative legal effect references to Catalonia as a nation, and the national reality of Catalonia. It also declared 14 articles entirely or partly unconstitutional. 22 further articles and 4 additional provisions were interpreted restrictively, in each case limiting Catalan self-government. The articles mentioned refer to Catalonia as a nation, its historic rights and symbols, protection of the Catalan language, decentralization of justice in Catalonia, local organization in Catalonia, the Catalan model of banks, the organization of political consultations or referendums, competencies in immigration, the financing of Catalonia. The number of people taking part in the demonstration was estimated at between 1.1 million and 1.5 million. Madrid-based newspaper El País estimated the number of demonstrators at 425,000. The mobilization was described as unprecedented by the mayor of Barcelona. Barcelona Daily El Periódico de Catalunya described it as, without a doubt, one of the biggest protest marches that have ever occurred in Catalonia, and possibly the biggest. The demonstration was led by a banner with the Catalan slogan Som una nació. Nosaltres decidem. Nationalist leaders believe that the demonstration on the 10th of July was a turning point in relations between Catalonia and Spain. An election to the Catalan government was held on the 28th of November 2010 with Artur Mas emerging as president. A general election was held in Spain the following year in which the People's Party won an absolute majority with 187 of the 350 seats in the chamber. Party leader Mariano Rajoy was sworn in as president of the Spanish 10th legislature shortly afterwards. Public response: Catalonia saw several local referenda for independence take place in hundreds of villages between the 13th of September 2009 and April 2011, with an overwhelming number of yes votes being cast. However, turnout was low at 27.41%. Several citizens' initiatives arose in 2011 and 2012 in response to perceived slights by Spain, such as the No Vol Pagar campaign, which protested against toll fees that were seen as abusive compared with those in other parts of Spain. The protest began in early April 2012 in Catalonia and had extended in a minor degree to Valencia and the Balearic Islands by the following month. At an institutional level, several municipalities of Catalonia came together to create the Association of Municipalities for Independence, an organization officially established on the 14th of December 2011 in Vic, which brings local organizations together to further the national rights of Catalonia and promote its right to self-determination. Also, during 2012, 197 Catalan towns declared themselves Free Catalan territory, stating that the Spanish legislation and regulations have effect only in Spain, so this town will wait for new legislation and regulation from the Catalan government and the Parliament of Catalonia. 2012 Catalan independence demonstration and snap elections. The 2012 Catalan independence demonstration, organized by the Catalan National Assembly, argued that Catalonia should become an independent state within the European Union under the slogan, Catalonia, New State in Europe. The number of participants was estimated at about 1.5 million according to Barcelona's municipal police and Catalonia's Department of the Interior, about 2 million according to the organizers, and about 600,000 according to the delegation of the Spanish government in Catalonia. La Directa magazine estimated at minimum 1,056,000 by counting occupied area and density. An article by statistician Llorenç Badalla published in newspaper La Vanguardia estimated at about 600,000. The city centre was crowded for hours, and it was feared that a massive influx of people might bring the mobile phone network to a standstill. Many newspapers and other news agencies described it as an historic demonstration and considered it to be the biggest protest march ever held in Catalonia since the restoration of democracy in Spain, surpassing other major demonstrations, including the 2010 Catalan autonomy protest. The event has marked the Catalan political agenda, and the debate about the right to hold a referendum on the independence of Catalonia has been reopened, as well as the debate about the feasibility of an independent Catalan state and its integration into the European Union. Union. As a consequence, the Catalan independence referendum is planned to take place during the 10th legislature of the Parliament of Catalonia, according to a resolution adopted by the Parliament of Catalonia on the 27th of September 2012. The resolution was adopted after the general policy debate. It received 84 favourable votes, 21 against and 25 abstentions. The President of the Generalitat of Catalonia, Artur Mas, declared in a speech to Parliament that it was time for the people of Catalonia to exercise the right of self-determination. On the 25th of September 2012, the President of the Generalitat of Catalonia, Artur Mas, announced snap elections for the Parliament of Catalonia to be held on the 25th of November and argued, referring to the demonstration, that the street vocal must be moved to the polls. Parties defending Catalonia's independence from Spain obtained more than half the Catalan parliament seats and significantly increased the votes. Although Mas Party lost seats, the Agreement for Freedom was negotiated between Artur Mas and Oriol Junqueras, the leader of the opposition in the Parliament of Catalonia. On the 23rd of January 2013, the Parliament of Catalonia adopted by 85 favourable votes, 41 against, and 2 abstentions the Declaration of Sovereignty and of the Right to Decide of the Catalan people. It states, the political parties Convergència and Unió, Republican Left of Catalonia and Initiative for Catalonia, Greens United and Alternative Left fully supported the statement of sovereignty. On the other hand, the People's Party of Catalonia and Citizens' Party of the Citizenry fully opposed the proposal. 15 members of the Socialists' Party of Catalonia voted against. 5 did not vote despite being present in the chamber, thus disobeying the orders of the party whips to vote against the proposal. Finally, the Popular Unity candidature gave a critical yes with 1 vote in favour and 2 abstentions. On the 8th of May 2013, this declaration was provisionally suspended by the Constitutional Court of Spain. On the 25th of March 2014, the same court declared the principle of sovereignty void and not constitutional and validated the other's principles. The Spanish government totally opposes Catalonia's independence, its self-determination, and the organization of a vote. 2013 Catalan Way human chain. The Catalan Way, also known as the Catalan Way towards independence, was a 480-kilometer human chain in support of Catalan independence from Spain. It was organized by the Assembly Nacional Catalana and took place in Catalonia on the 11th of September 2013, which is the National Day of Catalonia. Catalonia's Department of the Interior estimated the number of participants at about 1.6 million. The protest was supported by 14 non-governmental groups. The human chain followed the ancient Via Augusta, from La Perthis up to Alcana. According to Carme Forcadell, president of the ANC, it was a symbol of the unity of Catalan people to achieve national sovereignty. Plans for the Catalan Way were presented for the first time on the 19th of June 2013, at the Museu de Història de Catalunya. The inspiration for these was the 1989 Baltic Way. The presentation included Hen Carrots and Uelo Larnoja, 2 members of the organization which staged the Baltic Way. 3 weeks before the event, more than 350,000 people had registered to participate. In total, the organizers mobilized about 1,500 buses and 30,000 volunteers to help organize the event. On the 11th of September 2014, the Catalan Way 2014 street protest attracted 900,000 people, according to an independent statistical analysis by the Autonomous University of Barcelona. The human chain at this event occupied the 2 main streets in Barcelona, drawing in 11 kilometers. V-shaped Catalan flag. The V also stood for vote, referring to the referendum that was upcoming at the time. The number of participants was estimated at about 1.8 million according to Barcelona's municipal police. 2014 Catalan self-determination referendum. On the 12th of December 2013, the government of Catalonia announced a referendum on independence had been set for the 9th of November 2014. It will contain a question with two sections. Do you want Catalonia to become a state? And, in case of an affirmative response, do you want this state to be independent? The Spanish government stated shortly thereafter its intention to block the referendum, stating, "Such a poll will not be held." The government maintained as of September 2014 that the referendum was illegal, while a yes vote would not mean Catalonia would secede. According to Catalan politician Artur Mas I Guevara, it would give independence leaders a political mandate to negotiate with the government regarding independence. The poll was in fact held, and 80.8% of voters marked yes on both questions. Although a majority of Catalans chose not to participate in the referendum, 2015 Freeway to the Catalan Republic demonstration. The Freeway to the Catalan Republica freeway was a large gathering in Barcelona on the 11th of September 2015, the National Day of Catalonia, in support of Catalan independence. It was organized by Now Is the Time, a unified campaign organized and funded by the Assembly Nacional Catalana and the Òmnium Cultural. The number of participants was estimated at about 1.4 million according to Barcelona's municipal police. Catalonian parliamentary election 2015. The plan to hold an election in 2015 was announced on January 15, 2015 by President Artur Mas. President Mas said that it was his intention to turn the election into an alternative vote on the independence of Catalonia, with pro-independence parties including the independence process in the respective programs. Due to the inability of holding a legal referendum on the issue, the 2015 Catalonian parliamentary election was held on Sunday, the 27th of September 2015, electing the 11th Parliament of Catalonia. Declaration of the initiation of the process of independence of Catalonia on the 9th of November 2015. The Parliament of Catalonia adopted the declaration of the initiation of the process of independence of Catalonia with 72 votes to 63 against. On the 11th of November 2015, Spanish Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy threatened to suspend the political powers of 21 key political figures in Catalonia should they push ahead with the provisions of the declaration with the Constitutional Court of Spain to assess the legality of the region's declaration. Legality and legitimacy. Neither the Spanish state, the European Union, the United Nations nor any sovereign state questions Spain's de facto and de jure sovereignty over Catalonia or any other of Spain's autonomous regions. Only Spain's territories in North Africa are subject to irredentist claims by Morocco. The legality of any Spanish constituent country attaining de facto independence or declaring unilateral independence outside the framework of Spanish Constitutional Convention is debatable. Under international law, a unilateral declaration might satisfy the principle of the declarative theory of statehood, but not the constitutive theory of statehood. Some legal opinion following the Supreme Court of Canada's decision on what steps Quebec would need to take to secede is that Catalonia would be unable to unilaterally declare independence under international law, even in the currently unlikely event that the Spanish government permitted a referendum on an unambiguous question on secession. Some arguments appeal to rule according to higher law. For example, the United Nations Charter enshrines the right of peoples to self-determination, and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights also guarantees people's right to change nationality. Spain is a signatory to both documents. However, UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon has reminded that Catalonia is not on the list of non-autonomous territories with right to self-determination. Support for independence. Political parties. The parties explicitly campaigning for independence currently represented in the Catalan Parliament are the Republican Left of Catalonia, Democratic Convergence of Catalonia and the Popular Unity candidacy. They won 13.4% of the vote after the Catalan elections of 2012, and the 47.8% of the total vote after the Catalan 2015 election. Esquerra also has 2 MEP. Other smaller pro-independence parties are coalitions without present representation in any parliament. A Catalan Solidarity for Independence, Estat Català, Endavant, PSAN, MDT and Reagrupament. There are also youth organizations such as Young Republican Left of Catalonia, ARAN, and the student unions SEPC and FNEC. In Spain, some considered this trend to have been stimulated as a reaction especially against the policy of the Spanish government's governing People's Party, and its opposition to certain legislative reforms such as the reformed Statute of Autonomy of Catalonia of 2006. Others. In recent years, support for Catalan independence has broadened from the traditional left to far-left Catalan nationalism. Relevant examples of the liberal economists Xavier Sala I Martin and Ramon Tremosa Balcells. The lawyer and former FC Barcelona president Joan Laporta of the jurist and former member of the Consejo General del Poder Judicial Alfonso López Tena. The think tank Circle d'Estudis Soberanistas, led by the jurists Alfonso López Tena and Héctor López Bofill, was founded in 2007. Since then it has summoned a number of lawmakers, professors, businessmen, professionals, economists, journalists and intellectuals for the cause of Catalonia's independence. Other individuals include Luis Clach, composer and songwriter; Josep Carreras, tenor singer; Teresa Forçats, Benedictine nun; Josep Guardiola, coach of Manchester City FC, a former football player and former coach for FC Barcelona and FC Bayern Munich; Victor Grifols, chairman of pharma company Grifols; Miquel Calcada, journalist and reporter; Joel Joan, actor; Quim Monzo, short story writer; Xavier Rubert de Ventos, philosopher; Joan Sola, philologist; Luis Maria Zirinax, priest, political activist and author; Justo Molinero, radio host; Carmela Marchant, journalist. Opposition to independence. Political parties. All Spanish parties in Catalonia reject the idea of independence. Ciutadans and the People's Party of Catalonia, which had 17.9% and 8.5% of the vote respectively in the 2015 Catalan parliamentary election, have always opposed the notion of Catalan self-determination. The Socialists' Party opposes independence as well, while some of its members supported the idea of a self-determination referendum up until 2012. The official position as of 2015 is that the Spanish constitution should be reformed in order to better accommodate Catalonia. A majority of voters of left-wing platform Catalonia Yes We Can reject independence, although the party favors a referendum in which it would campaign for Catalonia remaining part of Spain. CDC's former Catalanist partner Unió came out against independence and fared badly in the 2015 elections, although polls show a rebound in voter support as the institutional crisis deepens. Blaverism is an ideology in the Valencian community that opposes what it sees as Catalan imperialism or pan-Catalanism. On party body level it has been represented by Valencian Coalition and Valencian Union. Other organizations and individuals. The list of organizations and individual citizens of Catalonia, Spain, who have publicly opposed independence includes Albert Boadella, actor and director; Mercedes Miller, presenter and journalist; Xavier Sauder, presenter and journalist; Jordi Evela, presenter and journalist; Pau Gasol, basketball player; Montserrat Caballé, opera singer; Joan Manuel Serret, singer-songwriter; Estopa, rock band; Loquillo, rock singer; Isabel Coyet, film director; José Luis Bonet, chairman of Carvel producer Freaksnet; Josepo Eliu, chairman of Bancs Sabadell; Foment del Treball Nacional, large Catalan employers organization; Catalans pel Seny, association of entrepreneurs and liberal professionals; Empresaris de Catalunya, a business association; Grup d'Acció Valencianista, a behaviorist organization in the Valencian community.